All right, looks like we're live.
All right.
All right, welcome everybody to Skeptalk Live. This is the temporary name of this show. This may or may not be what we end up calling it forever, but this is what we're rolling with right now. I'm your host Udo, and that is Jason.
Hello.
So, a lot of people are gonna, if anybody ever watches this show, they're gonna notice that it's got a format similar to a couple of other podcasts online, and that's because the formula we're gonna roll with. It'll evolve by itself. We'll get a couple of our own special things going on, but until now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna discuss news and events in politics, world happenings, comedy, religion, all sorts of things like that, and we're going to talk about today's headlines. We're going to talk about some trending videos and just see where that goes from now. All right. We're live on Twitch. It looks like I've got the Twitch chat screen up right now. Take that away. And we're going to start talking about a couple of today's headlines. One of the things I was noticing today, looks like the U.S. is preparing to put nuclear bombers on 24-hour ready alert. But there's a controversy about this headline that we're going to be talking about.
What's the controversy?
So originally this story broke on defense1.com, right?
Okay.
Which is I've never even heard of it before, right?
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
But immediately it was picked up and covered by Fox News and the Daily Mail. So
Yes.
yeah, bastions of truth and justice
Yeah.
picked up
It's
this
gonna be
story
real.
and ran with this super hard. The only other news group I could find covering this was CNBC, right?
Okay.
Well, other than I guess there were little websites that just ragtag weirdo sites that I'm worried about my antivirus software not being up to date when I visit them. So,
Gotcha. Yeah.
right. But CNBC says that the Air Force is denying this specifically. Uh,
Wait, they're denying that the bombers are being put on ready?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
So, either we are on 3 minutes to midnight, or we there's absolutely nothing changed,
Or
right?
it's Monday night.
Right. Uh,
Okay.
they're talking about the fact that the Air Force is saying that any of the mobilization of the planes that we're seeing is due to just standard practice. They're getting ready for a standard exercise that they do all the time, and it has nothing to do with nuclear.
Gotcha.
So
Except for their nuclear bombs.
right, exactly. Well, I mean, I wish that some other news outlets would cover this and specifically either sink this claim or support it. Right? If we could
Yeah.
get one other reputable source saying that this is true, then I'd love to get more information on it. But or if we could get one more even slightly reputable source to deny it. Right? A simple video of even some secretary at the Air Force saying no,
Yeah.
like that would work pretty.
Like, no, stop listening to the crazy website that we don't support.
Exactly. Website that's just making up stuff
Damn
about
it,
us.
Fox News.
Yeah, that story apparently broke way early this morning, and it's got a lot of the pro not I guess you'd have to say conspiracy, like we're going to war guys, which is all conspiracy theorists are
Yeah.
different, but the ones who are
I think I saw it headlining on one of the troop support pages that I follow on Facebook, like "We Are the Mighty" or something. It might not be those guys, but I just remember like vaguely seeing that while I was about to go into my midterm this morning, and it's been like I should probably read into that at some point today, but completely forgot about it till now.
if anything, that headline is definitely one that'll get clicks and show ad revenue. So
And they do that all the time. So that's another reason I probably didn't really check it out, is because I think I probably checked it off as like, if it pops up into like Bloomberg or The Intercept or something, I might read it, you know.
Right. I
But
mean, this also seems like if this was a real thing, this would be something that would be covered on an international scale,
yeah,
because
like
that's
I would
real
assume Al
important.
Jazeera. Go
Yeah,
ahead, sorry.
that's real important to everybody, not
Yeah,
just the U.S.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, Another headline out today. Wired magazine released a new article on the Chinese citizenship score. And this is actually something that I covered a long while ago independently through social media. I don't know if anybody even remembers talking about it. But 2014, China announced that it was working with a independent organization to create a essentially social media and like search traffic platform that was going to put together a bunch of scores, and it was going to generate a value of how awesome of a citizen you are in the government's eyes in China. Um, for a couple of different things, right? You would actually receive a tangible benefit by having a higher score. Uh, the article that came out today was just really talking about how they're planning to have this fully implemented by 2020, which isn't too far away. But
Okay, so wait,
yeah,
question
go ahead.
before you continue. Is this is not something they're just talking about possibly pursuing. This is something they are pursuing at this point for sure.
They've already put in a ton of money, and this company has
Holy
already
shit.
developed stuff. So let me explain a little bit about how this works from my knowledge, right? So you're gonna get your standard Chinese citizen, and they're going to receive a specific score based on a series of criteria, and the criteria are going to involve some pretty important things: what you buy, where you spend your time, right? Because they're going to be tracking these people all the time using cell phones, things that are
Yeah, for sure.
you need to have to go through life over there because they're so
Yeah.
technologically tethered to stuff, right? So they're going to take the score, all your scores, then they're going to look at your friends' scores, right, on all of your different social media platforms, and then you're going to be scored up against their scores. So if you've got a guy who is an upstanding citizen in your friends group and you spend a lot of time interacting with him, you're going to get a bonus to. If you've got a dissenter in your group, he's going to drag all of your friends' scores down, right? Because
Yeah.
he's a bad citizen and you're being influenced by him. So,
That's really interesting. I want to read up on this.
right.
Currently, most people aren't aware. Like, I'm in school right now for data science is my main concentration on the business side. So it's more business analytics. But we
Mhm.
deal with web flow constantly on databases, and I would really love to kind of figure out how they're gonna do this because they could easily do this on like a bell curve. And if they did it on a bell curve, essentially, no matter what, somebody is going to have to lose in your group of friends.
Right.
Somebody will have to be the worst. And they would be getting punished no matter what.
Right.
So it would become a competition between your social group to see, who could climb to the top possibly.
So it gets even creepier too. So besides the fact that what you spend, what you buy, if you pay your taxes on time, all these other things that they're going to be scoring you up against, what you get for having a high score can be, I mean, understandable on some levels, but then some are real, like, to a person in our culture, seem real messed up. So over in that side of the world, they've got a problem with people not getting together and forming family units, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a big epidemic of breeding age males just staying alone, and breeding age females going out and getting a job where they can actually succeed, or possibly excel, and not need to form a family to complete themselves, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So what you would get out of this citizenship score, right, is there's going to be a state run dating site. Right now, this is something I saw back in 2014, so it could have changed. No, like yeah. So the females, regardless of their score, are going to receive um, free entrance into the uh, the dating site. Right. The males would receive an invite if they got a citizenship score that was high enough.
Yeah, like 100 or over.
Right, and whatever their scaling is. Like, once you get to this point, you're now allowed to be on the dating site.
That's crazy. That is some straight up, like, Nazi shit.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it gets...
I don't know any other way to say that.
That's right, some, like...
enemy of why people are fearing communists.
Right. I mean, it's pretty crazy stuff. This could have changed since 2014, but that was what I was looking into, and people were looking at, and like it was that was the part that took me aside the most. But then again, whether or not you can get a loan, or you can buy a certain house, or you could get a job, or you could get an apartment, will all be based on your citizenship score.
That's crazy. I'm sure, like, when you say get a loan and stuff, they're probably bringing in a lot of financial details into it. I would assume, like, they would still have their own, communist-based credit report.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Right.
I mean, it's still terrible and messed up, but, yeah. I want to say, like, I'm really okay. I think what this represents is a horrible step in the wrong direction for social media technology and for data collection.
Right.
Way wrong step. That being said, I'm really glad it's China that's doing this. Because, I mean, it's terrible. I wish, like, a small province in China maybe was doing this. Not the whole country.
Right.
Because a lot of people are going to be negatively impacted by this. But it will be a fascinating thing to watch from the outside.
Oh man, the data knowledge that we could get from this grand experiment. It's going to be insane, right?
And the fact that they're going to be, it sounds like what they'll have to do, and maybe they have a way to defeat this. I'd love to look into it, but they're going to essentially be putting their entire country's citizens' data in a single location.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not a hacker. I have no idea how to go about breaking into a database like that. But that sounds like asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Especially with the way espionage is working, like, within the past several years. It's pretty clear that, like, your IT security, you can't spend enough money on it because hackers are one step ahead of you no matter what.
Yeah, and with a prize that valuable, you are creating a hidden fortress out of neon signs, right? Like,
oh yeah,
everyone's gonna want that.
What if you're like, oh, like, this Chinese businessman didn't negotiate with me in the terms I wanted him to, you know? Boom, corporate espionage, lower this guy's score, drop him from his rank in the company without even having to do any real, I guess, work.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy.
And even I mean, like, there are some people who is going to want that data on a more innocent level, but would be willing to go to extreme levels for it. Like, if you were a marketing firm, or a new company, or if you were a very large company, say Amazon level, right? How good would it be to know everything about an entire country?
I mean, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, like
you couldn't ask for a better, birthday gift.
Right. Okay. Next headline that I've got here is that this is something we were talking about earlier, but okay, so they're reopening the investigations on Hillary Clinton about her emails, right? And the Russian investigation is still going on, but a British parliamentary committee has written to Mark Zuckerberg asking for information about any paid-for activities by Russian-linked Facebook accounts, because they're thinking that it's possible that Russia may have influenced Brexit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So not only is it possible, right? That Russia influenced our election, but they also may have sown the seeds of discord in the EU at the same time. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you were,
go ahead. Sorry.
if you were going to, be meddling with foreign affairs and like your key idea was just to take down other countries by just fiddling around with their social media, why wouldn't you do it with the Brexit too?
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason you wouldn't.
Right.
Unless you were allies. But
right, exactly.
Is a fickle term.
Yeah.
So here's my thing on the whole thing on Russia. I still have yet to see anything that's solidly incriminating that proves that Russia did anything. I've definitely seen, like, in some IT circles, I've read some security reports, and I'm like, okay, clearly there were some hackers, and there is a footprint towards Russia. Mm-hmm. None of it really points to the Russian government for sure. That doesn't mean that there's plenty I haven't seen. There's plenty I haven't seen, and there's plenty that the FBI and investigative agencies aren't going to show us, and that's good. I shouldn't see that. But if this is correct and these assumptions are correct, then we're dealing with the most powerful country on the planet. You know what I mean? Like, if Russia can influence our election, can influence Brexit, and therefore influence the British election, we're seeing like the strongest Western governments be influenced by democracy.
Right.
Like a problem with democracy, and that would be insane.
Correct. Yeah. But the only thing that I do want to mention is that we haven't seen anything else, right? So we've like, they haven't shown us any definitive proof that it was Russians meddling in this, that, and the other, right?
Of course.
They haven't shown us it was anyone else either.
Yeah, true.
Right. Yeah, like, I mean, absolutely. They can't even point out to be all like, oh no, it was just this this jerk off in Arkansas who wrote a website type of thing, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm totally willing to wait for the investigation to clear and then make my decision.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel too. I don't think it's unlikely that Russia did it either, and that I didn't want to put that out there if people were thinking I don't think that Russia could do it. I do think they could do that. Absolutely, especially with the way that the Trump administration used social media data to get elected in the first place. Like, it's absolutely possible that you can use that data to do harm and to do good.
Right.
I will reserve me thinking Russia did it till I see some hard evidence. And that hard evidence could even be in the form of like the FBI coming out and saying, we are 100% sure it's Russia. Like, just hearing that would make me feel better.
Right. I mean, and the other deal is like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Like, exactly. I mean, if they had the power to do so, it's not like this is something that I've heard a lot of like, why would Russia do this? Or like, why is everybody focusing on Russia? And it's like, well, because, right? Like,
we're enemies.
Right.
We're allies.
Yeah. just because there's a bunch of, pageantry between Trump and Putin doesn't mean fucking that we're besties.
Yeah, totally. And it doesn't mean, and even if, let's say, Putin and Donald Trump go to summer camp together and they love each other, he wasn't a big fan of Obama.
Yeah.
The Obama administration, and definitely not a big fan of Hillary Clinton.
Right.
There's plenty of reasons to conspire.
And there was grandstanding during the Bush administration. There was all sorts of shit. Like, it's never been good.
Oh, it's never been good.
All right, moving on. Go ahead.
Sorry,
no, if you got something, go ahead.
I was actually happy that Trump was getting along with Putin at the beginning of the election.
That means we don't have to
ties with Russia.
We don't have to fight Russia, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Now I'm like, why does it have to be tainted? Why does everything have to be complicated? Because of real life. Anyway.
All right, so I got a couple of serious but funny stories. The first one being, Kid Rock was on the Howard Stern show Tuesday, right? To announce
That's
his
fucking amazing.
announce his new record. Right. I don't have any tape or anything of it, right?
Oh, damn it.
But the during the interview, right, they touched on his political ideals, right, and the thing that he was talking about with running for Senate, right?
Yeah.
And Kid Rock was quoted with saying, "Fuck no, I am not running for Senate." And then Howard, right. But I mean, this was a big thing. There was a lot of people that were all like, "I'm voting for Kid Rock," right?
Yeah, I know. They're all from Florida. They're fucking idiots.
Right, and he was when they said that he'd be mounting a campaign against Michigan's incumbent Senator Debbie Stanhope, and that he was just joking. And once again, another quote, "Are you fucking kidding me? Who the fuck couldn't figure that out?" Right?
Amazing.
There's a bunch of people who, obviously everyone who posted on Facebook or Twitter, "I'm voting Kid Rock," none of them are going to eat crow because that's just something they can't physically do. Their body is physically incapable of accepting the fact that they may have done something wrong.
Yeah, totally.
But the rest of us can sit around and feel a little bit smugger.
Yeah, exactly. All for that, it's like you probably watch Alex Jones too at that point,
right?
In my opinion.
Exactly.
So what am I gonna say to you to change your mind?
Right. And then the liberal apocalypse is the next one that I've got. Global wine production is expected to fall to its lowest in more than 50 years.
The liberal apocalypse. Hey, now conservatives like wine too.
No,
they just prefer the beer can.
Exactly. They prefer it out of a box.
Yeah, out of a box or a giant jug.
According to the International Organization of Wine and Vine, it's going to be the lowest that it's been in 50 years. They blamed the decline on weather in Italy, France, and Spain, the top 3 producers of wine in the world. It's projected to fall 8% from last year, which is globally, which is going to dissipate the global surplus that they've got because of the financial crisis in Europe, where they had a slump in demand in wine, which seems like that would be opposite to me. But I mean, I guess if you can't afford wine, you can't afford wine, right? But the plus sides, it looks like Britain's wine industry is doing just fine, and that means that they may be able to take some of the market share this year.
That's good. I was reading that we're doing pretty decent too.
Right, California's is recovering nicely from the droughts, from what I understand.
Yeah, and the fires were post harvest.
Right. And about the fires, I saw some pretty shady shit. It looks like there is a bunch of land like exchanges occurring during the fires right now, right? So
whoa.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people
Slow
who
down.
So
I need to know.
So there are wealthy landowners, right? In other parts of California and all over the U.S. actually, but they're buying out the land that is on fire still, right? Because
genius move.
Yeah, you do much less for development, and as far as I know, the landowners have no responsibility to replace the forest, like if it's taken by a natural disaster, right?
Yeah.
So if you,
whereas the state would,
right, and if you harvest, like if you go through and you like cut down all the trees, right, to make to lumber or whatever, you're gonna have to replant and keep the forestry departments happy. But if it burns down, bam, strip malls.
Strip malls everywhere.
I don't have the data that I've got on that is pretty inconclusive on whether or not it's happening, of course, because the names aren't going to be public yet. But that's something to look out for. Look for more news sources on that. Don't just believe some fat guy on the internet.
Yeah, it's a good call. I trust you, but I know you, so.
Right. Okay, well that's the headlines that I've got. So let's move on to our first video. Let me make sure that this works. Ooh. Right one. Bam. Okay, so I've got some videos here for us today. The first video is a man showing how easy it is to climb over the border between the U.S. and Mexico. I mean, he's skinnier than I am, so that seems pretty easy. I don't think I could do that easily. But... Of course, Trump's border wall will be taller, right?
Yeah.
And at an angle with laser beams and...
Oh, my backpack.
And rockets. That's pretty funny. Oh, my backpack.
Yeah, apparently this is the famous border fence, right?
Yeah, that was erected during like the Clinton administration.
I believe so. It could be early
Bush
or late Clinton, one of the two.
The only one.
Right.
Yeah.
So, this thing, man, there's so many problems that this thing has caused. I guess that they didn't put it along the border, right? So there's no specific he isn't technically like in Mexico or whatever right now, right?
Yeah.
He's
'cause they put it significantly like a mile inland or something.
Right, and it just carved up a bunch of people's lands.
Yeah, because they had to use eminent domain like a dick.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And apparently, this is the end. This is how far illegal immigrants are willing to go. They just won't go to this right? That was the
yeah, totally.
engineering here. Man,
do you know where this is located?
I don't. Oh no, actually this is recorded in Sasabe, Arizona.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
It is desert.
Yeah, I suppose, right? But I mean,
that's not stopping anybody,
right? And they've even got the the tank stopper
I saw that.
Yeah,
I was wondering if that's what that was. It was like I'm not gonna say anything.
Like the World War II beachheads, right? You know, stopping D-Day from coming through.
Yeah, just in case Mexico launches an attack on us.
Right, exactly.
We have this wall to protect us.
Right, exactly. Anyway,
wow, okay.
Yep.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
So, like, are people looking at this video and rallying for the new Trump wall?
No.
Is that the point of this video?
No, the point of this video was right, exactly, showing how good our current protection is. And I mean, we know how expensive the border fence was. So if we want to, hexatuple the price for this, to try and get the border wall.
Yeah. I mean, there probably should be something there, right?
Like an immigration station?
Maybe not quite that far. I just mean, like, I would assume that if we're going to... So...
We could just annex Mexico.
Like, Mexican immigrants that are working illegally, like undocumented immigrants, do negatively impact like the southern states a lot.
Right.
Economies, whether or not it benefits the rest of us, of course. But like, I would assume that they would want to put at least something up. But clearly, like, they're not really. Like, this, I mean, this is ridiculous. Like,
right.
A chain link fence would stop more people than this would.
Right.
Because it's kind of sharp.
It doesn't have foothold-sized holes in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I guess chain link fences specifically are
does.
nothing but. But
I mean, like, at least like maybe not razor wire, but like barbed wire or something. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't want people to get injured, but at the same time, like, if I don't want, like, if I'm in the South and I'm like, oh, I don't want people crossing into like the South to take more, like, you know, jobs I'll never work. Like, at least buy some damn chicken wire and put it up or something. Jesus.
Right. Yeah. The thing I was saying earlier, we could just annex Mexico, and at that point, no more illegals, right? Like, the whole thing's solved.
Fact.
There's no more.
It could be our Gaza Strip.
Exactly. There's no more. There's no more illegal people in the country. They're all supposed to be here because
we have this giant area to vacation at now.
We could give them just as many rights as Puerto Rico, and it wouldn't change a damn thing for any of us. Right, exactly. And in case anybody is watching this and is an idiot, that was sarcasm.
Yeah, that was totally sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm gonna go to the next.
Is an idiot.
Right. Gonna go to the next slide here.
Cool.
All right, so this is Carl Gallups, right?
This guy looks fucking awesome with his green shirt. I love it.
Right. So this is he's a minister. He's one of the ministers that prayed over Trump, right?
Okay.
Right. So this is his take on why sexy clothes are sexual assault towards men.
Jesus. Praise Jesus. Sorry.
If a woman wears sexually suggestive clothing around a man, is that not also sexual assault? Men are visually stimulated, and unwanted stimulation...
There's no video. This is actually an audio file.
I'm not condoning bad behavior by men, but women need to understand that by walking around in their little sister's skirt, they are guilty of indecent visual assault on a man's imagination, which does cause mental anguish and torment, especially on men who are really trying to live in harmony and respect toward women. When a man sees a naked or partially dressed woman, a chemical reaction happens in his brain. Neurotransmitters...
Right. So, yes, that's true. But when I hear this guy speak, a chemical reaction goes through my mind and it forms rage and anger. And I'm not out there murdering him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So...
What's wrong with what he said?
Right.
Like, obviously, the first one is, I'm sorry, but a woman wearing a miniskirt isn't equal to raping your eyes and mentality. What the fuck is that? That's disgusting. Number two, like, the only way you can even make that argument that he's making right now is by the pure assumption that men can't possibly control themselves and we're all rapist pieces of shit.
Right.
Which isn't the fucking case, and that needs to die. That
whole
mentality needs to die.
I've gone 33 plus years without raping a woman, right? Like...
And that shouldn't even be fucking commendable.
Right, exactly. I'm just saying it's not that hard.
Yeah, no, totally. But, like, I feel like in his church, he would be like, can we get a round of applause? Because this guy isn't like the rest of us rapies.
Exactly. He's seen all sorts of miniskirts and never been assaulted.
Yeah. How does he do it?
Like dopamine and serotonin are released, giving him an involuntary surge of pleasure. Notice the word involuntary there. Men are in a state of constant sexual assault by women who either don't understand the severity of what they're doing because, you know, it's cute and they like the attention, or worse, they do know the feelings it stirs and like the control they have over men.
Yeah, I mean, that's not... there's all sorts of other reasons that people would wear whatever fucking clothing they want to wear.
Yeah, they can wear whatever the fuck they want. Like, why does it even matter? If you can't control yourself, you should seek help.
Yeah. The worst part about the guys like this and the way that they talk is that what he said was true on a level, right?
Yeah, a small portion, a tiny level.
Right.
Yeah.
There are
there are. You do react with chemicals in your brain.
There are women who will wear clothing in order to elicit specific responses. Right.
That's true. Also,
there are, sex workers are something that specifically comes to mind. It's like, yes, that's exactly what they're doing, and it's that there's a point to it. But other people are just wearing clothing like that because it makes them feel good, it makes them look good.
Here's my fucking problem with this guy. It's involuntary the way it happens to me. It's like, dude, you're the same fucking kind of person that sees a billboard that he doesn't like and then talks to the city and rants on social media until it gets taken down.
Right.
You're a fucking snowflake, dude. I'm sorry.
Right.
You are one of those people that you probably rail against. You need to control your goddamn emotions and go talk to a fucking psychiatrist.
Yeah. Witch doctors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Witch doctors.
But no, you said billboards, and it made me think of something. This is a local issue for Jason and I, but you saw the new law that went in October about distracted driving, right?
Yeah, I did.
So I had a buddy, who thinks he was pulled over because he glanced at his speedometer, right?
Right.
They said he was looking down at his phone or whatever, and
even though his phone was tucked away, I believe we're talking about the same.
Right, exactly. So what about billboards, man?
I do believe I remember reading in the Oregonian, or it could have been the Willamette Weekly. They're both trash news organizations. But it was an argument about that, and specifically in the law, billboards were okay to look at.
Right, I know, but
I don't know why.
Isn't that fucking trash? Like,
like it's okay if you're looking towards the sky,
right?
Because somebody put money up there for you to look at it.
Exactly.
I mean, they would lose a ton of ad revenue if they made that illegal.
Oh yeah, a shit ton.
It is pretty interesting, though, that our friend who got pulled over for it, I didn't think he would be in effect that quickly. Like, I didn't think I'd already be reading about that on social media. There's a bit more to his story than that. It was his cell phone was definitely in a position where, like, it wasn't even in an area he could grab it to look at it, and the police officer saw that, and he even admits, he's like, if I was actually doing that, I would be okay with paying the fine, and I broke the law, I'll deal with it.
Right. But
what I'm hearing is, like, the fines are getting ridiculous already, and it hasn't been very long.
Right. Like, it's almost like it's getting used as a new revenue source.
Yeah, exactly. It's $2,000 in Douglas County, I think it was.
Yeah.
One of the counties.
Yeah.
According to another social media user, that I should probably research that before I start saying that. But
yeah.
It does seem a bit crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy, he goes on like this for a while. So we can continue watching it if you want to, but I'm pretty sure we got the gist of his story.
Yeah, I'm probably good.
Excellent. So the next story that I've got could get us in trouble. Let's go for it. Right. In a small field near the Canadian border, the newly formed Trigger Warning Queer and Trans Gun Club meets.
Nice.
It's in response to the rise of the far right in the US. In a small field near to the Canadian border, the newly formed Trigger Warning Queer and Trans Gun Club meet.
We're acknowledging our
Can we pause it real quick?
fear.
Yep.
Before she even talks, I love that American news won't even cover this.
Right?
I have to hear about this from the UK. That's like the best part.
The name they chose. That is the part that makes me laugh the most, right? I'd have no problem with people owning guns. I have no problem with people being LGBTQ, anything they want to be, right? But is this the right answer? Like, is this the way to go? Right? Like,
I'm gonna come out and say, without watching this video and knowing nothing about this, I'm hoping that they named it like that as a troll.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of piss people off, make people laugh.
Right. If they're running with the "you call me a snowflake and I'll build a snowball," right, type of thing, like that.
Yeah.
Right. But if not.
Yes, if not.
Right.
Thank you, liberals.
Of a world in which conservatives are the only ones who are armed.
The 18 paid-up members are all LGBTQ, meeting once a month to shoot still targets and clay pigeons. But the light mood affronts the incident that led to the group's creation last winter, when vandals burned 2 homes' rainbow flags in this area, straight after the presidential election.
You see, if vandals break in and cause problems, I don't think an arms race is the correct thing to go do, right?
No, definitely not.
Right.
That's not why they're arming themselves.
They just said so.
Yeah, I know.
they just said we want them to know that they're not the only ones who have guns.
Yes. Yeah, true. I am glad they're doing it, though.
Right.
I do think more liberals should be buying guns and owning guns, and I doubt, especially if they're going towards the LGBTQ community, that should be kind of a necessity for you, because there definitely are people who would like to kill you just because of the way you are as a person, and that's not fucking right. And
right.
After Charlotte, like, I don't, clearly not enough is being done to protect people.
Right. I think, okay, the part about this story that I don't like is that it's so cringy in the way that some of the things have been done, right? Naming it trigger warning, specifically even naming it the queer and trans gun club meet, right? Why not name it the protection for the American citizens, right? Or name it something that has to do with the entire community coming together and talking and saving and protecting each other, right? Or I mean, because at this point, if they do have anybody who's sympathetic towards our cause, like, where are those guys fit in, right? Do we have to go make a, we support the trigger warning queer and trans gay club gun club?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of a troll club. Like, I see these guys as, like, their own version of Antifa without, like, they haven't done anything yet. They haven't caused any violence or really stood for anything, it seems like. Yeah, I might be wrong. All I know is what's in this video. I could be completely wrong. But,
right, exactly.
Like, they're definitely trying to incite, you know what I mean? They're trying to incite, hopefully dialogue, but being a gun club doesn't necessarily incite dialogue.
Because, I mean, like, I got a gun, and I don't want to hurt queer and trans people, and I want them to feel safe, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think I could help, right?
Here's what my main concern is. Why maybe there is one, but is there like a liberal version of the NRA? You know what I mean? Is there like a liberal gun club? I don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't either. That'd be an interesting.
Like, such a if you're a liberal, you don't own a gun,
right?
Or you have to. The bullshit argument of any kind of gun regulation means take away all guns.
Right, exactly. There are only two sides and they are both the extremists, right?
Yeah, and I hate that because I can't side with either one of them.
Right.
And so to my liberal friends, I'm this hardcore redneck, and to like my conservative friends, I'm this hardcore liberal, and I'm like, it's not the case, guys. Like,
right.
Rested in the middle. You're both fucking idiots.
Right.
Like, I just want you guys to talk to each other and come to some kind of common ground so we can get over this stupidity already. Like, it's 2017. We're going through this for 30 fucking years. Let's figure it out already.
Right. No, we don't want to take away guns. Yes, I would prefer it if crazy people could not get machine guns.
Oh, whoa.
Right.
You just blew my mind.
Right.
I didn't realize that was an option.
Exactly. Oh, well, okay. Looks like I hit the next slide.
Like dance well.
This is my
Is this a dance
favorite video. This is Pastor Exercises Man's Wiener.
Holy shit. This just got way better.
You are packing your load and leave this body. In the name of Jesus Christ.
So I want to point out that this is likely one of the African churches, right?
Its accent sounded African.
Right. And I am not qualified to make a guess on what part of Africa, but I do believe that this is not a U.S. church. But it gets better from here.
Let the power of Holy Spirit enter your body now. In the name of Jesus Christ. Let the fire of Holy Spirit enter his body. You made this.
There he is, just hanging out, man.
What?
So a little bit of the background from what I understand, this guy is possessed by a demon, and it is just giving him the hard on.
It's just giving him the heart. That's the way to explain that.
But okay, so look around at the people that are watching this and how absolutely calm they are.
Yeah, like it's normal.
Mariga to now be like that. You are a wicked demon. You have to live this.
You're a wicked demon.
To this last Thank you,
Better
Jesus.
zoom in on his boner.
Thank you.
Right. Oh, that's not. There's
Thank
tons
you,
of
Holy
it.
Spirit. In Jesus' name.
And then this is like, can you display it any harder?
Yummy. This is
Also,
for this boy.
so look at those cameras, dude. This is being covered like either on the news or this is a TV show. Like
Holy shit, yeah.
that means there's like a bunch of grandmothers at home watching their favorite church show, and it's just boner guy. Also,
What the fuck?
that dude's pants in the back are dope. Those yellow, like,
yellow ones?
yeah.
Yeah, those are fly as fuck.
uh,
Holy shit. I wish I knew what country this was.
yep.
Sich is why, like, for fuck's sakes, guys. Like, I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
one of my main issues with religion, though. And it's not like most people who are religious. It's the fucking extremists are so crazy.
Right.
Like these guys aren't even hurting people, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, from what I can tell, these are the like Nigerian scammers of Christianity, right? So
Yeah, that's
what
fair.
they're doing is they're just trying to get popularity so that they can get donations, so they can sell stuff, they can get people to pay tithes or whatever. The same way that you would send out an email to somebody who is gullible, letting them know that I'm a Nigerian prince and I have $25 million and they won't let me out of the country. So if you give me your bank account, I'll put $25 million in it, right? And when we get out, we'll split
this
it.
guy during the Houston flood. Like, why couldn't people have stayed here? That would have been amazing.
Oh,
He's
did-
the Joel Olstein of fucking Africa.
Did you see the whole thing about Mattress Matt?
I don't know what that is.
I think his name was Mattress Matt, but there was so when the whole the flooding was going on, right?
Oh, I did. The guy who let everybody stay.
In his fucking mattress store,
Dude,
like,
this guy,
yeah, and he was just all like, yeah, this is. I mean, we were friends helping friends, and like all the mega churches in the area just were huge pricks, and they're all like, yeah, we're just gonna keep our door shut so the water doesn't get in, guys.
the water doesn't get on the floor. You know how much these floors cost?
Exactly.
You can't have a
You're
bunch of wet people in here.
you're all supposed to die. That you know how Noah does it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Fuck.
All right, so that's what I've got for this set of videos. We've got to take a quick break and get set up on the next set of videos. So we'll be back in 10.
Go.
right, we're back. Let's see.
Hello.
All right, we're gonna move into videos right away. I've got a couple of crazy religious videos here. The next one's from Jim Bakker. For those of you who don't know who Jim Bakker is, he is a TV mega evangelist, and his company focuses on selling things to old people, right? Like, so people who are worried that the world is going to end, or that, you know, the liberals are going to take their guns, or whatever. This guy preys on them. But this is him.
This guy.
Yeah, this is him talking about how no one gets it quite like Trump does.
This is the warfare of information age. This is the warfare of destruction from television, from Hollywood. And what are they doing to our president? Have you ever seen a president so crucified?
No.
By words.
Absolutely not.
They're determined.
By words.
Right. Well, the thing I'm thinking, Obama?
Yeah, Obama right off the bat. Like, are you fucking kidding me? There's
Bush?
no comparison. Yeah.
Clinton?
Clinton
Yeah.
was before I wasn't paying attention to politics. I was too young, but I'm sure they
Right,
love
but
money.
I mean, anytime, I mean, like, I've seen less coverage of the Russia scandal than I did of the Lewinsky scandal. Right? Like,
Yeah.
every news source, everywhere, was just constantly talking about Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
And the whole
That
fucking...
was like the scandal of the 90s.
Right. The only thing that didn't happen is I never heard it once referred to as blowjob gate.
Which, you know, it's a much better name.
than the Lewinsky scandal.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bush fucked up all the time. And, you know, he got his Bushisms, right? And those, I mean, like, he say one fucking word wrong, and that, you know, they just replay that for the next 6 days. Everybody forgets about Trump's tweets the day after because he's done something else fucked up the next day, right?
He never stops. It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ.
Like, you don't have enough time to maintain anger about anything he does because you have to focus it on the next thing.
It's pretty crazy. Like, I don't think 6 years ago I would have ever thought that there would be a president that's spending time out of his day communicating directly to citizens with social media.
Right.
Like, that's nuts to me.
Right.
It's cool. I think it's actually awesome for the most part. Obviously he should do it way less.
Right.
And
Like, Obama
communicate far better.
Obama broke ground with the whole social media communication with the people when he did the AMA on Reddit. When he did he did a couple of things like the White House had its own Twitter and all this other stuff that was going on, right? Trump has taken it too far. Too far.
I think we're kind of seeing, like, okay, where should the limit have been? Okay, that was the limit. No, please stop. No, really, please stop.
Where we're going, there is no limits. But okay, so him bringing up the nobody gets it quite so bad. I still haven't seen as many, like, so the hypocrisy is, it's so exactly the same thing that we saw when Obama was elected, only backwards, right? So they had people running through the streets with Obama dolls hung up on crosses on fire and stuff like that, right? Like the Not My President run, all that type of stuff. And they're just seeing some of the conservative media just be all like, whoa, why are they acting like this? These children, right? When it's literally the exact same thing as 8 years ago.
It hasn't changed.
The skin color of the doll on the cross has changed, right?
I will say there was more
From black to
there
orange.
Was definitely more riots this time
Yeah.
than I remember there being during Obama. There was some. I do remember seeing footage of people like in the streets in southern cities, and maybe they weren't destroying property. Maybe
Right. But I mean, and it was the fact that those protests, those marches, those rallies, those Klan gatherings, stuff like that, all happened in butt-fuck nowhere, because that's where those people live.
Yeah. True.
Right. It's
That's
the
not
whole.
to say that there wasn't some crazy shit. Like I remember the Ivanka. Do you remember that? Or maybe it was Melania.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Times, I think, covered it, where it happened on Trump Tower. Like somebody was talking about raping and killing Melania or something.
Right.
They like spray painted it on some. I mean, like there was that. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's just because it's in high visibility areas. Can you think of how many people had to unspray paint their fences in those shitty little townships in fucking Ohio and fucking Texas and shit like that? How many people had to like repaint their fence because somebody wrote Obama go back to Kenya or something like that on the side, right?
Yeah.
At least, nobody's running around with inane narratives like, the birther subject and shit like that.
I'm kind of pissed there isn't one.
Right.
I mean, we have Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
Right? We all saw that.
I take it back. Melania's a body double.
We did get that.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that this week. That was a great. When I first started reading that, my mind was floored because, God, I was reading it on something that was almost relatively a trustworthy site.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a mainstream media, and I was like, oh, they're covering this. Like, it kind of got me to think for like literally less than half of a second. I was just like, oh, is this real? And then I'm like, no, it's fucking real.
Exactly.
Like, body double? Like, no.
So, I mean, it got so bad that the White House, refuted it and stuff like that. But isn't that exactly what they'd do if she was a body double?
Maybe we could get Alex Jones on this show to clear it up.
Yeah, maybe. No. I don't.
Like, she's not a body double. She's a reptile.
Right.
But he actually probably loves Melania, so.
Right.
Only the Clintons are reptiles.
That they're going to get him impeached.
Yeah. Well, that's ridiculous.
They're still talking about it.
Right, because they're still investigating Russia.
Yeah. They're not getting impeached because they're mad.
If he
gets impeached, he caused a crime.
Right. And, I mean, like, the investigation, if it comes back and says there was nothing wrong, that'll drop. We'll find something else to be mad about, and you won't any hear about impeachment for a while until he does something fucked up.
Again.
Right. It will happen. But
yeah, I mean, people talked about impeaching Obama the whole time he was president.
Right.
I don't really want to hear about, like, oh, the poor president and his, like, soft feelings. Like, no. Like, he can handle it. He's a grown-ass man. You're the president. Half the country's going to hate you no matter what you do.
Right. Well, could you imagine if all of just like tomorrow, Trump came out and said, I'm a Democrat now, and changed zero of his policies. Not a single thing changed.
I think the problem with that would be, I mean, personally, I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
Because of the ramifications of what would happen.
Right.
The parties would both collapse. And I think that would be amazing.
But what I'm saying is,
they'd be like, what? No, that can't be. And the conservatives would be like, no, but our guns.
Right, exactly. No, that the entire thing would just, I mean, it's a simple color shift of blue and red, right?
Yeah.
Would 100% change the opinions of people like Jim Baker, right? He would just immediately be all like, oh, well, Satan got to Trump.
Yeah. I'd say it would change the opinions of 100% of shitlords. They would all change. I would stop getting trolled by like the crazy assholes in their basements with their fucking Pepe the Frog memes, and I would start getting trolled by liberals, which like I don't know what liberals have for memes. Okay, here's something I gotta say for like Democrats and liberals. You guys gotta have better memes.
Yeah.
Republican memes are amazing. They're hilarious. Your memes are like, well, I'll hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, I know you can be offensive. I know you try to not be offensive your whole life, but let's be honest. Like, we all got a little dick in us. You know, we're all kind of assholes. We're Americans.
Well, they got to pull a Pepe, dude. They got to go and steal a meme from
They
mainstream.
have a meme from Reddit and
Right.
4chan.
Right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, and then just corrupt it into a Democratic meme, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's all sorts of really great ones. I mean, I'm going to show how much of an old jerk I am, but like they could get the Jimmy rustling gorilla, right? And just have it be like, no more suffering, only universal healthcare.
Dude, what if they took Harambe?
Yeah. It would be It would be insensitive. One, it's an important thing you have to do.
Yes.
Two, everybody knows it, and lots of people love Harambe, so people will accidentally share your shit even if they completely don't agree with you.
Dicks out for Democrats.
Oh my god! All right, dicks out for Dems, dude. That's our thing.
Dicks out for Dems.
All right, let's see Jim Baker get angry, or solemn and sad, and pull on the heartstrings of the old and frail.
Others have even this last few days
money.
have filed more impeachment papers against our president.
Well,
it's insane.
Yeah.
They have no basis to base it on.
No.
But rhetoric and words.
Right.
Anti-American spirit.
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's why. Yeah.
They're anti-American.
Right. The left. The only reason that they're talking about impeaching Trump is because and he looks so fucking harumph right here. The only reason that that people don't want Trump doing things and running rampant over our country is because they're anti-American. Because that's what it means to be American, is to just pick fights with North Korea.
Yeah.
Do you see this?
As if like questioning the president is un-American.
Right.
It's like, you do realize we're literally fucking American because we question the crown. Like, that's
right.
Basically how we became American.
And I mean, the one fact of the last election that it still gets me so fucking bad when they're misquoted, and I think I remember this guy quoting it. I watch everything so that we make sure we don't get super in trouble on Twitch, right? But he quotes that the majority voted for Trump. And that
Wait, he says that?
Yeah. Oh, it kills me, dude.
True.
Right. No, it kills me because the people like him have twisted their minds into believing they're the majority. And they'll use a lot of acrobatics, dude.
I don't think they believe it, you know what I mean?
Well, if you take out all of the illegal votes, then they won.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Yeah.
World today.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, nope. I guess he said it a little bit earlier, or maybe one of the parts I cut out. But for those of you interested, rightwingwatch.org is a great place to find various videos. All right, so the next one I've got is bizarre footage showing babies and children being rolled in cow dung as part of an Indian ritual in which their
that's what that was.
right, in which their parents believe will help them lead to a healthy life and bring them luck.
Before you start this, it
yeah.
almost looks like, one of those cultural, like, oh, they're going to make a giant flatbread videos or something. I don't know if you guys watch those. I watch Food Network a lot, so.
Yeah. But no, this is in a tiny village called Betul in the central Indian state of I'm going to slaughter this. Madhya Pradesh. Madhya, or I don't know. Madhya Pradesh. Anyway. Oh, it's so goopy.
This is totally abuse. I mean, here, not there. There's
right.
Holy. Look at how much he's loving it. He's crying. He's so happy.
Exactly. That's cultural insensitivity. Yeah. Good sir.
Yeah, my ethnocentrisms just get me.
Right. No, I can't think of many other cultures where it's cool to throw people in poop.
Let alone your fucking child.
Right.
And roll them in it.
This is so lucky. Anyway.
This is look how free we are. I mean, that is freedom.
I suppose. There's the
price you pay.
And okay, so the bovine is the divine being over there, right? So
true.
I suppose that this could be equated to possibly like hurling your child into angel shit.
Yeah, it's lucky God shit.
Right.
And if any of you that are watching this, both of you guys that are watching this, or females, whatever, ever think about, getting baptized at some point, essentially this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Right.
Except it's God's tears or whatever.
Yeah, basically the same, same hoobajoob. Like the same fucking shim-sham, right? That's the magic that's going into this kid is the magic going into people that are being baptized.
Poop, bro.
Right.
Question, do they put that poop into their gardens when they're done?
Accidentally.
Or is it ruined because they threw kids in it?
Okay. I don't know. He sounds like he's having such a good time.
He's having a blast. Look, I love that we don't even know if it's the parents grabbing them. It could
right.
just be two random people.
Right. So who was the first person that was rolling the kid around? Or two, who is the kid that just, or the person that just snatched that kid?
Yeah, totally. Kid grabbing it is
I mean, to be fair, it's probably the whole village raises a child thing, right?
Yeah,
so that's just
do have a tight knit community,
right? But I mean, as an outsider looking in, I am snowflaked, right?
I am snowflaked.
Also, what the hell is that banging? It's very possible.
I can't tell if it's a gun or like somebody banging on a trash can because it sounds bad.
Long ago, I used to see this one thing about this festival where they used to use explosives on a fucking hammer. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can find it for later. But they would take a sledgehammer and put some contact explosive stuff on it. Where,
holy shit, that's amazing.
They would pack like a bunch of fucking explosives on the edge of a sledgehammer, and then the kids from the neighborhood, like the young males, they just run up to exactly, kind of like Tannerite, I guess. Would run up with the sledgehammers to a big steel plate and just go kaboom and just get flung back all like cartoon style. What? Yeah, dude,
that's
and it was
the best thing I've ever heard of.
And so all I can imagine is there's just a bunch of guys with sledgehammers in the background, just all kaboom, throw them in the cow shit. Aside from the fact that I am sure there are diseases in cow shit. Right? Like I am, there is not a doubt in my mind that there is diseases in cow shit.
Yeah. But it's also India, so there's diseases fucking everywhere.
Right. I mean, they probably got better immune systems than we do.
Yeah, I would assume so.
But it's so squishy and malleable. Right. Right.
This is white privilege. We had trampolines when we were kids. These poor fuckers get thrown in cow shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like, I'm laughing, but it's like I should feel really bad for these kids.
Right.
Yeah, I do a little bit.
And this is, brainwashing into a culture where, fucking magic cow shit child throwing is a thing. Right? Right. So that's all I've got for us today. Let me see if I can bring up Twitch chat and see if anything's there at all. Oh. Apparently it's work. There we go. Nope, no one said a damn thing. Well, you know what? It's our first episode, and that's fine. Yeah, I think that the podcast worked out pretty well. If anybody's watching this after we've streamed it, feel free to hit us up for if you have any ideas, anything you want us to comment on. We'll have a lot of ways to contact us on the Twitch channel. So I guess
hit share.
Right. You should definitely.
If there's on Twitch, I'm kind of new to this. So.
Follow. You should follow us. We are too new to have anybody subscribe, but soon, hopefully, you can subscribe. And yeah. All right, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for coming.